What happens when human arrogance dares to challenge divine power? This eternal question found its answer in an extraordinary moment during the Mahabharata, when the proud prince Duryodhana attempted the impossible, to capture Lord Krishna himself. Throughout history, countless souls have failed to recognize divinity when it stood before them. Their ego, like a veil, obscured their vision of the truth. Such was the case with Duryodhana, the eldest of the Kaurava princes, whose pride and ambition would eventually lead to the Great War of Kurukshetra. As tensions mounted between the Kauravas and their cousins, the Pandavas, both sides sought Krishna's alliance in the impending war. Krishna offered a choice. One side could have his mighty army, while the other would have Krishna himself, though he would not lift any weapons. Arjuna, with divine wisdom, chose Krishna as his charioteer, while Duryodhana gleefully accepted the army, believing military might alone would bring him victory. But before this choice was offered, there occurred an incident that revealed the infinite nature of Krishna's divinity, an event that should have opened Duryodhana's eyes to the truth he was too blind to see. It began on a seemingly ordinary day in Hastinapura, the capital of the Kaurava kingdom. Krishna had arrived as a peace messenger, offering one final chance to avoid the devastating war. He carried with him the hopes of the Pandavas for a peaceful resolution. But Duryodhana, consumed by hatred and jealousy, saw this as an opportunity not for peace, but for a fatal mistake. In his clouded judgment, Duryodhana devised what he believed to be a brilliant plan. He would capture Krishna during the peace talks and imprison him. Without Krishna's guidance, he reasoned, the Pandavas would be lost, making his victory assured. Such was the delusion of his ego, that he thought he could contain the very essence of the universe within prison walls. The peace conference began in the great hall of Hastinapura. Krishna's words were filled with wisdom and compassion, as he proposed various solutions to maintain harmony. But Duryodhana's heart had hardened beyond reason. As Krishna spoke of dharma and righteousness, Duryodhana secretly signaled his guards to surround the divine messenger. What happened next would be forever etched in the annals of spiritual history. As Duryodhana gave the signal to seize Krishna, a subtle smile played on the Lord's lips. In that moment, Krishna revealed his Vishwarupa, his universal form. The limited walls of the great hall seemed to dissolve, as Krishna's cosmic form expanded infinitely in all directions. Thousands of suns blazed forth from his face. Multiple arms stretched into infinity, holding various divine weapons. His body contained all the worlds, all the gods, all creation itself. Celestial beings appeared, singing divine praise. The very fabric of reality seemed to bend and twist around his magnificent form. The guards who had come to capture him fell back in terror. Some fell prostrate, their eyes unable to bear the divine radiance. Others ran in panic, their minds unable to comprehend what they witnessed. Duryodhana himself stood frozen, his arrogant resolve shattered by the sheer magnificence of the cosmic vision before him. In that moment, Krishna demonstrated a fundamental truth of existence. The infinite cannot be contained by the finite. The eternal cannot be bound by the temporal. The divine cannot be captured by mortal hands. Yet even this spectacular display failed to permanently transform Duryodhana's heart. Such is the power of ego and delusion. This incident carries profound teachings for spiritual seekers. It shows how ego can blind us to the most obvious truths. Duryodhana, despite witnessing Krishna's cosmic form, chose to return to his ignorance. He exemplifies how attachment to power and pride can override even direct divine experience. The story also reveals the nature of divine play. Krishna could have struck down Duryodhana at any moment, yet he chose to teach through demonstration. His response to aggression was not violence, but a revelation of truth. This teaches us that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to illuminate. The futile attempt to capture Krishna also mirrors our own spiritual journey. How often do we try to contain the infinite divine within the limited constructs of our mind? How often does our ego convince us that we can control that which is beyond all control? Krishna's cosmic revelation was not just a display of power. It was a teaching about the nature of reality itself. It showed that behind the familiar human form of Krishna lay the entire cosmic manifestation. This truth points to the Vedantic teaching that the divine permeates everything, is everything, and yet transcends everything. For modern seekers, this story serves as a powerful reminder about the relationship between ego and enlightenment. True spiritual growth begins when we recognize our limitations and surrender our need to control the divine. It teaches us that wisdom lies not in trying to capture or understand God through our limited intellect, but in opening ourselves to divine grace. As we reflect on Duryodhana's failed attempt to capture Krishna, we might ask ourselves, what divine truths are we failing to see because of our own ego? What cosmic reality are we trying to squeeze into the small prison of our preconceptions? The answers to these questions might just lead us to deeper spiritual understanding. The message rings clear across the centuries. The divine cannot be captured, controlled, or contained. It can only be experienced through surrender, devotion, and the dissolution of ego. In this eternal dance between human limitation and divine infinity, true wisdom lies in recognizing our place in the cosmic order and acting with humility and dharma.